Is German noun gender logical? If you're a native English speaker, you would probably tell me it isn't. But believe it or not, when a new word enters the German language, often when it's borrowed from a foreign language, native speakers do have debates about what noun gender it should be based on certain logical criteria about why something should be masculine, feminine, or neuter. So I'm going to explain this reasoning to you, and believe me, it's not what you think it is, so that you can learn German nouns more effectively with less memorization. So when English native speakers start to learn German and they realize that a noun can be masculine, feminine, or neuter, they usually gravitate towards certain rationalizations about these genders that just are not correct. So let's start with misconceptions about why German nouns have certain genders. The first misconception that I hear all the time is it must be masculine when it's an object that is often used by men, and feminine when it's an object that is often used by women. This is not the case, and I'll give you a few examples to show you why not. Let's say you're a construction worker. That is a male-dominated field. There's a lot of men using construction work tools, right? Like a shovel. In German, a shovel is die Schaufel, which is feminine. So that breaks that thesis already. And let's say you're using a leveling tool, das Nivellierinstrument. That is neuter. That is not masculine. Let's think about makeup. That is something that a lot of women wear and not so many men. So if you wanted to say like lipstick, it would be der Lippenstift, which is a masculine noun. So there are so many exceptions to this line of thinking that it isn't even useful for memorizing words, and I would not recommend rationalizing noun genders that way. Okay, the second misconception about German noun genders is that they are assigned to things with masculine or feminine characteristics. So for example, if something is really big and imposing, it must be a masculine noun. And if it's cute and little or dainty, it must be a feminine noun. And you're getting close to the correct solution with this, but you're not quite there. Just think about a castle. Would you call that a big imposing thing? I know I would. And the castle is feminine, die Burg. What about a cute little porcupine? Feminine? Cute? Yeah, well, it's masculine. Der Igel. So there's so many exceptions to this line of thinking. It also is not helpful, but it is close. And there's actually a study done on how speakers of different languages perceive things based on the gender that something has in that language. I'm going to reference the study up here so that you can look it up and read at your leisure. But the often quoted example there is the bridge, whereas in German, a bridge is feminine, and German speakers in the study tended to describe the bridge with more feminized characteristics, whereas in Spanish, it is masculine, and the Spanish speakers tended to describe the bridge with kind of more masculine features. So it's a big question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Do they think it's masculine because it's already masculine in their language, or did they make it masculine because they think it's masculine? We're not going to figure that out today. That would be a lot of thinking. But suffice it to say that thinking of things in this way is not helpful because the characteristics that a certain object has and whether or not you think they're feminine or masculine is so subjective. It's going to vary a lot. So don't use that to help you memorize things or rationalize things. But how do people memorize and rationalize things in German, or rationalize this noun gender? The number one way that they rationalize noun gender is by the ending of the word. And this is the dominant characteristic that everyone looks at. If it has a masculine or feminine ending, then that's just definitely going to be masculine or feminine. An English equivalent would be how a lot of feminine names for people, a lot of them have an on the end because this sound on the end just sounds feminine in English. It's kind of like that in German, but there's just a lot more endings, and there's endings for each gender. So masculine, feminine, neuter. And this video is actually part of a 4-part series on noun genders. So I'm going to be describing the endings to look for in another video. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming videos. I'll be releasing one each month. So endings. There are certain endings. A common feminine ending is E, which is also pronounced Common masculine ending is ER. And a common neuter ending is shen. So that's just a start, and tune into the other videos to find out the rest of the endings. And this applies to compound nouns as well. So if you have 2 separate words combined into one noun, like maybe Satz, sentence. It's der Satz, that's masculine. Now, you could say Aufsatz, and that would also be masculine just because you have Satz at the end. Same thing with an airplane. So it's der Flug, the flight, or das Flugzeug, the airplane, because Zeug is always das. So if you know the gender of the ending, then that's it, that's the gender. For nouns without a clear gendered ending, you can look at categories. So objects that share similar characteristics or are in a similar category are usually the same gender. And there are exceptions to this. It's not 100%, but it's certainly much better than just guessing on your own. And it gives you a lot less to memorize. So in my upcoming videos, I will be giving you concrete categories. But for now, just a few examples, like fish. If something is a fish, it's going to be masculine most of the time. So you have der Lachs, the salmon, der Hai, the shark, der Fisch, the fish. So that cuts down on memorization quite a lot. And when native speakers are debating what gender a new noun should be, they will say, oh, look, well, it has an E ending. Oh, maybe it's a fish. It's a fish. Should we make it masculine even though it has a feminine ending? Usually that's a no. It should be feminine. But they will debate these things. And the third category is just ambiguous nouns. If it doesn't really have a clear category, if it doesn't have a clearly gendered ending, if it's just some random foreign noun you don't know what to do with, you just make it das. Das is the blanket noun for things you don't know what to do with. Blanket noun gender. So that's it. First you got endings, second you got categories, and then you've got a free-for-all assigning das to everything. So I hope that helped. Join me for my other videos to learn the details and get some concrete categories to memorize. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Tschüss!